be looking down on me. The world above must also be. This could go on for infinity. Color coded just to keep me sane. My world is finally starting to take shape. I press the button and it bursts into life. This time nothing will escape my sight. I see the stars and the planets soon follow. Expect to have the universe by tomorrow. Just sit back and relax, don't worry. The world can wait. No need to hurry.
Searching for music for your next video? Then you need to check out Artlist.
What's happening? What's going on, man? What's going on? What's going on? What is happening? Steve, work with me here, man. All right. Mm-mm. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I've been away for a while, but I'm here again. Um, been away for a moment, but yeah, I'm back. Definitely got this past Sunday. Definitely got backed up on other things that's been going on. So making it up today. Definitely off schedule, but alas, we are here. See, OBS follow me where it needs to go. I want to get the picture in there. I want to get the. There we go. Don't tell me these things. Don't tell me these things died already. That thing's falling down. Right. This thing's falling off the. How did that happen? All right. So, welcome to the Higher Thinking Show. All right. Definitely gonna be continuing where we left off, continuing our campaign of shooting through this Claud Anderson stuff. Today we're gonna be reviewing his questions and answers. Um, just to show further what more he's about, what more of he's about. Probably gonna get through this stuff, just a few of these videos, then kind of maybe move on to some other content creators and different ideas and stuff like that. I mean, I think we got a pretty good idea of what he offers as far as his take on group economics and stuff. I think the next course of action is going to be watching a guy named Thomas Sowell. I've been getting hearing a lot of conversation regarding him as far as who to kind of listen to, who to check out, who's going to offer a bit of polarizing views compared to what we've been seeing from Claud Anderson. He seemed to has different opinions, different takes on the black experience in America. And at the very least, I'm open to hearing what he's talking about, and I will definitely be offering my full and honest um, take on what he's providing Americans and also Black Americans. If he's offering solutions and that aren't just outright excuse me. If he's offering solutions or realistic solutions, then I at the very least will open my ears to him, you know. But by that same token, I very well will be extremely honest as far as what my take is on it. I do have my suspicions as far as people kind of using his name and his ideas as a bit of a deflect from accountability, if that makes a lot of sense. But I know at the same time I am preaching the idea of neutrality, utmost neutrality, and being as honest and empathetic, right, as possible taking and being as charitable as possible as far as understanding his arguments in relation to solutions that can benefit black folk. I want him to. Hmm, I want him to be honest about the situation that's happened and to Black Americans uh, up to this point. If that's possible, if that's what's happening, and he's offering the solutions based in on that, but his take and his reason is just different from what I believe that's was accurate that I've extracted from listening to Dr. Anderson, and then so be it. But yeah, whatever solutions he offers, yeah, I'm definitely willing to hear him out as long as it's conducive towards as long as it's rooted in reality and it's not foregoing accountability that falls on people that's literally more or less benefited from their forefathers' decisions to literally keep a group of people under their thumb. So I think, and again, well, I think I said enough on that. Anyway, as far as our what we got going on here, we got Queen's Ashes Part 1. Again, this is see what we got cooking and see what we can learn from our friend Dr. Anderson.
Hello.
Yeah, click like and subscribe, right? Yeah.
Again, welcome to Powernomics.com YouTube channel. I'm your host, Dr. Claud Anderson, and Connecting the Dots. That's my program, and I welcome you again. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to record any videos for you in about the last 2 or 3 weeks, but unfortunately, I've been out and taking care of some medical problems, trying to get back on stream.
Thank God.
One of the things you learn about life when you're young, typically you spend most of your time just trying to go to school, get a good education, come out, either start a business or get a good, decent job, then start a family and try to get some children on earth before you leave here. But once you get over 70, everything changes.
Yes. Everything changes. So everything changes, and it's good that we all remember that in our early years, right? So that we prepare ourselves for a future where we'll be ready. A lot of people don't want to think about the future. They don't want to think about they don't want to make their decisions. I'm sorry. They rather do what's fun now. They want to live in a moment, you know what I mean, 24/7, and they're not remembering that there's they don't understand the power, the it's very funny. They don't understand the power and investing in the future. They don't understand the sacrifice necessary. That's they don't understand that the sacrifice necessary in their current lives is gonna be needed for them to establish a healthy future, a healthy lifestyle in the future, right?
Everything changes. Now you spend most of your time just going back and forth to a doctor's office trying to figure out how to survive and get whatever information you've gathered in your learning experiences through the course of your 70 years on the earth. You're trying to get that and package it so you can disseminate that information to people you want to get it to, so they'll be in a much more competitive position on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
Because on this earth, if you're in a race group, racism is a class structure.
Yes.
Where people are competing for the ownership and control of resources, and you must learn to play as a team. And so after spending 60 some years in national and international politics, I decided I was going to try to fight strictly for those individuals, that particular specific group of individuals that have been, everybody has beat up on for almost 500 years. Every ethnic group, religious group, gender group, everybody has mistreated, violated, exploited, Jim Crow slaved, and segregated and misused black people, native black people in America.
Yeah. And I'm getting, yeah. And that's just the fact of the matter, man. You live in America. You live in a place where it's tough. It's tough, man. It's tough dealing with this stuff, man. But yeah, I mean, oh, good evening, teacher. That's just the thing, man. Everybody has everybody. You live in America, man. You definitely benefited off the blood, sweat, and tears of black folks' ancestors, you know. And just so happens that we weren't paid. We haven't gotten paid back for that. And it's like I hear a lot of people. It's so much conversation regarding people saying, "Oh, dude, like that's like nothing to do with you. That's your ancestors. Like those." That's not, I mean, I don't have to tell you about how many. I can't even count how many. I can't count on two sets of hands and two sets of feet. How many times I've heard, "Oh, dude, like that's nothing to do with you. That you were never a slave. That was that stuff happened 400 years ago. You have your own problems. They had their problems." Like, man, like if y'all want to pretend like generational wealth isn't a thing, then like. That's just bad. You're arguing in bad faith, man. Like you're being like, you're just participating in just the gaslighting of Black Americans, you know. And it's like this is a legitimate thing that people would do benefit from, like having an identity with the people that hold 99% or 90% of the United States wealth in America. Is like there is benefits that come with that. I mean, this guy, like, he pretty much summed it all up. He went up and down, explains everything to do with it. And he's given so much of the game for free on YouTube, you know. And all you gotta do is click play when all of this stuff, and but to get the better understanding, you buy the book, you know. But it's like, I don't know, I see all these people, man, leaving comments on my stuff, leave comments on other people's YouTube channels and stuff like that, and they all saying the same stuff, like, "Oh, you're using this stuff, you're using this information, or we're using history as like a crutch as far as to get as for like some sort of a payout, some sort of a what's the word they like to use? Payout? No, not payout. Bailout, whatever, whatever. Cat. It's like we're defining it as a debt owed, and they think we're trying to get cash, we're trying to get bailed out for our bad decisions and stuff. And it's like, it's not even majority of the time it's not even bad decisions. A lot of and the talking point they want to say is, "Oh, what about like rich people? Which rich Black people, do they deserve reparations?" It's like, it's so weird, man. And it's like, I don't even think that they're not even trying anymore. They're just like throwing stuff out there just to waste people's times, and they'll waste people's time. And it's like they're trying to be discouraging, but it's not good enough to bring me off my focus. But yeah.
That's been going on for over 460 years, heading towards 500 years. And that is peculiar. That degraded status is peculiar to Native Black America. Because you see, they hold a record. They hold a record for having been enslaved and Jim Crow segregated longer than any other human beings in the history of the world. Remember that makes them an exceptional group of people.
Yeah.
No other group, based on religion, gender, or ethnicity, or language, or religion, has ever been enslaved as long as Black people and Native blacks in America have been mistreated and violated. And that's why I say they are exceptional people. And that's why I make sure that it's strictly real important that you always remember they call them Native Black Americans.
Yeah.
But I'm back on stream now, and we're gonna start dealing with some of these issues. But what I thought about in
So, like, in case anybody is questioning the whole idea of Native blacks, Native Black Americans, that's what's that? What Tariq Nasheed? He mentions this idea. He coined this idea of what do he call it? The FDA or something like that. A foundational Black Americans or something like that. It's sure what it's like whatever you want to call us, man. We have to find a way to separate ourselves from foreigner Black Americans. Only because there's the lineage that we come from is just different from like a foreigner's lineage, you know. What's how you doing, JK? The idea behind that is he with the lineage that these foundational Black Americans have, like I said, it's a different lineage than choosing to come to America. You know what I mean? Because the people that chose to come to America legally, at least, were given government fundings, were given grants, were given there's actually there's legislation that favors people that come to America legally, right? You get your pass, you get your green card and all this other stuff. They help you out, you know. But for slaves, that was never a thing, you know. And as a matter of fact, beside like even with the black folks that were already here, before the settlers came in and established colonization, the pilgrims and all that stuff, before they established slavery and all that stuff, the black folks that were here that didn't get wiped out from the massive genocide and all that stuff, like they were like denied a lot of the things that were given to white Americans or Europeans at the time, you know. Specifically like the Homestead Act, where how was that defined? Basically, the government, was it Abe Lincoln? It was somebody, I forgot who it was. I believe it was Abe Lincoln, but I gotta look back on that. But Homestead Act basically was like we're gonna, you know what, I'm gonna look it up for you. Let me bring it up, pull it up real quick, just Homestead Act. I don't want to, I mean, I know what it is. It's just, I want to definitely get it delivered to you very, very correctly. All right. Oops. Well, how did that happen? Yeah, don't show them OBS. All right. There we go. So yeah, this is denied to Black Americans. The Homestead Act enacted during the Civil War. Yeah, okay, well, I was right. It was Abe Lincoln. The Homestead Act enacted during the Civil War in 1862 provided that any adult citizen or intended citizen who had never been borne arms against the U.S. government could claim 160 acres of surveyed government land. Claimants were required to live on and improve their plots by cultivating land. Yeah, this black folk didn't. Black folk weren't given this, so, and that's just one of the many things that that we have to deal with. Oh, I didn't even. Oh, I'm so slow. I'm still getting used to this, y'all. Let me just. I'm gonna have to edit that crap out during my editing phase. There goes that mouse tweaking again. Time for a new mouse, I see. transition. There we go. I forgot to hit the transition button, man. Yeah. One more time. The Homestead Act enacted during the Civil War in 1862 provided that adult citizens or intended citizens who had never borne arms against the United States government could claim 160 acres of surveyed government land. Claimants were required to live on and improve their plot by cultivating the land. And again, this was not given to black folk. This was only allowed of United States citizens that were white. So, and it's just like this stuff is just kind of like the beginning of the trickling down or the establishment of a firm foundational start for a group of people to eventually grow into power, into a strong power today. I mean, it just is what it is. Like, nothing against them. I'm not, no hard feelings on my half. It's just, we just kind of addressing the facts over here. You know what I mean? So many people need to know and listen to this so they know what the world doesn't want to teach or let us know. So big support for putting this out, man. Dude, that's all yeah, I appreciate you, bro. That's literally all I'm trying to do, man. Just trying to show people more truth than what they're used to. And it's like, again, this is no hard feelings, you know. This is just us stating it, it's putting the facts out there and stating what's and helping. How do I word this? Just understand where we coming from when we went with the solutions that we came up with. You know, like I said, there's a strong case for reparations right now, and a lot of people are just using bad talking points. They're arguing in bad faith. They're discrediting useful information, and them drawn to their conclusions. And it's like I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to have conversations with these people, not debate, but I'm willing to have actual conversations with these people, and so that we can establish some sort of because I want to bridge the gaps between people. I don't want to burn bridges. I don't like the idea of how do I word this? I don't like the idea of just separating people and all that stuff because we have polarizing views. I want us to be on one accord and fight this was the craziness that's happening to us as a people, as a unit. You know what I'm saying? It's just that some people are just kind of old things, and this is the argument that Dr. Claud Anderson is making in behalf of these people. Another conversation, Dr. Anderson is up there with the best of the best, like Marcus Garvey. Big facts. I mean, I don't got nothing. That's just facts. I ain't got nothing to say. I have nothing to add to that. I don't know if this relates, but I watch a lot of homestead farm videos on YouTube, but it's mostly white YouTubers that I found. I'm curious how many black homesteaders there are currently. Homesteaders? I don't know what a homesteader is. Let's look that up real quick. Just so, cause I never heard. I mean, the first time I heard the word homestead, it was literally when I looked up his Homestead X stuff. Let me see if I can find. Homesteaders meaning of homesteader in English. Let's go to dictionary.com. The owner of a homestead, a seller under the Homestead Act. Okay, let's look what a homestead means. A dwelling with its land and buildings occupied by the owner as a home and exempted by a homestead law from seizure or sale for debt. Any dwellings with its land and buildings where a family makes its home, a tract of land acquired under the Homestead Act, a house in an urban area acquired under a homesteading program. Homes in an urban area. Oh, in the urban area. So it can be an urban area also. I mean, just wherever somebody decided to, claim that is they joint. You know what I mean? As long as that land was maintained properly by the people who founded it. Yes, okay, I see. Okay, it's Minimasters. Well, let's get back to this video real quick. Oh, people of our current generation, like millennials, who are buying farmland, moving from cities to maintain and live solely on farms. Okay, like people like farmers type folks. I had my great grandmother had some land down there. I don't know how she acquired it. Maybe I should go back and talk to some talk to the elderly in my family. But yeah, my grandmother had a farm and stuff like that. Let me see. I guess the difference is she probably paid for it, and then like the other folks that this Homestead Act as like they were given benefits and stuff like. So maybe that was the difference. Yeah. Also, okay, people who live and survive solely after. Yeah, I think my dad and them call that living off the land. Like when you broke, the only thing you can do is grow crops and stuff like that to survive. But yeah, I get it.
Coming back, since I'm coming back from the hospital recently and unshaved, I'm gonna do something a little different. I'm gonna try today to do something that I normally wouldn't do. One of the first things I learned in politics 60 years ago was don't engage in philosophical issues, wheel spinning discussions like debates. So therefore I don't debate and I don't wash windows. I try to deal with things that are substantive issues. But today I'm gonna try to deviate from that.
Now I do believe in debating. I do believe more so in conversations, but in times of when it's time to debate, it's time to debate. It just is what it is. A lot of people want to spread misinformation. A lot of people are choosing to be confused, and we have to stop that, right? We have to, yeah. We can't allow the confusion to fester, because it's going to breed more confusion and then less progress and worse solutions are going to be had.
For a very specific reason, I'm going to try to have a Q&A with you today to try to pick up on some things that I read and coming back, where out of the hundreds of thousands of letters that I've gotten, I picked up about 3 or 4. I'm going to respond to these issues. I'm going to do something I should never do, but I'm going to try it for the first time. I'm going to try to respond to some comments that were made about some of our previous commentaries.
All right.
And we're going to go through those. And on our program called Connecting the Dots. Remember that, connecting the dots. And that is extremely important in how you perceive yourselves and how you analyze conditions. So I picked about 3 or 4 things I'm going to talk about. First, I'm going to talk about them in 2 ways. First, in part 1, and secondly, in part 2. But I want you all to understand the gravity of what these individuals said in their commentaries back to me, to show you the depth of them and the magnitude of the levels of ignorance and naivete that is peculiar to a lot of people in our society. I'm going to pick a couple of them out to show you how people either within our race or outside our race both got the same objectives. You got some people inside the black race that can do everything humanly possible to demonstrate self-hate and to try to make sure that they find some way that they can escape by not being black or being identified with anything associated with being black. And you got other people that would make commentaries. It says, just like those inside your race that want to escape, outside your race, we're going to try to lock you in and make sure you stay in there too.
Yeah. So, and what a lot of people don't realize is it's not. I think a lot of people initially jump to like black Republicans as the people that are making an attempt to escape their race by way of identifying or aligning themselves with their political affiliation and their ideals and stuff like that. It's not just that, you know. It's like any situation where you're willing to forego your culture of people in support of whatever other agenda that's going on, you know, that's pretty much what this is mostly about. It's like it's not just these guys that want to hop on Fox News and give any type of excuse as to give any type of excuse as to why something happened, other than the fact that somebody is being singled out because the color of their skin. You know what I mean? Or at the very least, don't even want to acknowledge it when that's clearly a pattern and stuff. Yeah, we'll keep it at that for right now.
Because this is a competitive situation. The status quo does not want anything to change pertaining to black folk. And so we're going to pick a couple of them. And how we're going to go, what I want you to do now, let's take it from an analytical standpoint. One of the things I used to enjoy doing when I taught at various universities, like Florida University in Florida, or Bowie State University in Maryland, or when I was over education for the state of Florida, or when I was teaching at Wayne County Community College or Wilson Community Colleges, I enjoyed teaching black people to be analytical. And because if you don't, you got problems. So what I'm gonna do this morning is,
be analytical. Couldn't agree with that more. I think right now, black folk, when you don't be analytical, you rely on your emotions. You rely on the things that you think. You rely on you don't even have conversations with folk, you know. And when you don't even do that, you kind of look bad. It makes you look uneducated. It makes you look you kind of rely on instincts instead of like actual processes that will force you to deal with nuance and context before you find your solutions and your conclusions. And it's just a big difference between going through the process, going through the proper steps necessary to find a proper solution, as opposed to just relying on your gut instincts to, you know, find your solutions. And yeah, when you're not analytical, when you're not dealing with all of the information possible, all the information necessary, being empathetic, being understanding both sides of the argument, then nobody's gonna. It's just, all this gonna do. It's literally only gonna take somebody to recognize that, to expose that out of you in their own crafty ways, and ultimately you lose credibility because of that. And you also, when you lose credibility, you also you lose any ability to get through to people, to bridge that gap between people, to literally bridge the gap between people so you can connect with other people. And when you don't connect with other people, your ideas are not gonna be transferred probably.
Let me molest your intelligence for a few minutes this morning and show you what I'm going to try to do when I say I want you to be analytical. I don't know how many of you might have this book called Powernomics.
Finna get it.
The National Plan to Empower Black Americans. Now, if you have that book, what I want you to do is to go over to page 32 and 33. Now, for those who don't have the book, I want you to track us. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to molest your intelligence to try to read something to you. This is very important, and I'll start to analyze the inappropriate behavior pattern of people inside our race and those who are outside. And let me read it to you, starting on page 32. It says here that it's been said that the epitome of madness is to do those same things over and over again while fully expecting things to somehow change. We've spent centuries seeking out civil rights and social acceptance. And therefore, and yet nothing has changed. And what it's saying here is that we got to do something that's totally different. And we must look at the situation how? By learning how to connect the dots. Yeah. Now, if you go down to the second paragraph, it says, following the line.
Connecting the dots, being understanding nuance, applying the nuance, applying context, and forming solutions based on all data collected. The only people that's going to care about your problems as Black Americans is going to be you.
And that puzzle illustration that I have on page 33. And what I'm saying to up there is that you take an analytical way, make 3 rows of 3 dots. 3 rows of 3 dots. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, if I were to tell you right now, connect those dots for me, just like Dr. Anderson talks about on connecting dots. But I want you to draw a line through all those dots without taking the pencil off the paper, and hit every dot, connect them all together. And what you'll find in doing that is that it's impossible to do unless you do one thing that's very important. You got to be able to go outside that box. Go outside the box. And this is what I call thinking outside the box to be able to solve that puzzle. And if I were to show you this, you probably won't be able to see it in the book how I illustrated it to you. Let me put it up to the screen. Right here. See this? It shows you how you can connect draw 4 lines and connect all those dots. If you go outside and think outside the box, you can connect the dots. Well, that's what I talk about in my commentaries. You cannot understand or change things in Black folk and race matters because they're locked in, they're cemented, they're protracted, people have engaged in malpractice against Black folks so long that the abnormal has become the normal.
Yeah.
The wrong has become the right.
Yeah.
That's why the conditions are not changing for Black folk unless we begin to start thinking outside the box. And so what I'm going to do when I start reading some of these things to you this morning, out of 3 or 4 little examples I took from comments made on my commentaries, and I want you to think about, are they thinking inside the box or thinking outside the box? Like, for instance, let me pick one. I picked about 2 or 3, and I'm going to try to answer them. One here, it says, Dr. Anderson, some of us are confused by your message. Somehow you're telling them not to vote at all, are we suppressing our own votes? What I'm hearing is that if you don't have a candidate who's giving us benefits to start our party, what some are saying, that doesn't make any sense. Why are we giving up our vote? Are we?
Yeah. This is a big one. This is definitely a big one. Suppressing the votes, suppressing our own votes. I'm letting him speak for himself, and I'm gonna reply to what he says.
Suppressing our own vote. Let me get you straight and eradicate any confusion. I'm not asking you to suppress your vote. Voting is a magnificent thing in a democracy, but you must understand it is totally useless and wasteful if you don't stick with the original intent and purpose of playing politics. And big politics is a simple process that defines who's going to get what benefits out of life. It came from a process that started in France in about 1500 called politicade, which means politics is based on some very simple premise, is that deciding who gets the benefits is based on a simple premise of quid pro quo. One hand washes the other. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. You vote for me and put me in office, I owe you. That is what politics is supposed to be about.
Yeah.
Which means that any individual who's going to engage in the game of politics that does not say a demand that he gets special benefits for himself, his family, and his race, he is playing a game where he's designing to work against his own best interests.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Like, if you find that voting for a Democrat is going to benefit you, you're gonna have to make sure you understand how they're going to benefit you. You know what I mean? And there's gonna have to be, and I can't stress it. I love saying a tangible word, but that's just what it is, man. Like, you're gonna have to understand. You have to really like understand like the meanings to what your favorite politician is saying. You're gonna have to understand the word, like the wordings they're using, and then you're gonna have to and when they do crack and like offer something for you as a people, you got to hold them to task, you know. like it's regarding Joe Biden. Some people are happy with what he's doing. Other people don't find what he's doing like beneficial and stuff. I mean, Cardi B is talking about why things going up, and it's like it's just it's a mess all over the place. Um, but again, some people are happy about it. Some people are happy with what he's doing. But I'm gonna let everybody like kind of decide that for themselves. We're and then regarding um and then regarding people that black folk that voted for Trump, it's like the things that they see in Trump is just not the same things that that other people that the left wing voters see in Trump. You know what I mean? Like they people have different agendas, people have different opinions of the matters, but the fact of the matter is, if you're gonna vote for either of these parties, you're not voting for the interests of black folks in specifically. You're voting for things that's outside the reasons of blacks. You know what I mean? You're voting more so as an individual, but you're not voting as a black person. You're not voting to the strategies that Claud Anderson suggests. You're not voting as a block, as a unit that aligns themselves as a black person. And I mean that's just the case. That's just and the outcomes are gonna reflect that. But hey, if folks are at peace with voting as a Democrat or voting as a Joe Biden fan, you know what I mean, or Kamala Harris fan, then that's just on them. But like when things kind of happen when solutions don't come to Black Americans, then there's a reason why.
By voting for someone who has no concern about that individual voter. So I tell you, no, I'm not going to suppress your vote. You're suppressing your own vote if you vote for somebody that has no interest in your welfare, your well-being. You are assisting them. You're assisting them. You're enabling them to keep you subordinated in the system. Right now, black folk are outside and underneath the system. They've never been a part of the mainstream. And so when you go to the polls to vote, before you vote, you must say, what is that individual I'm voting for going to do specifically for me and my race? What am I going to get if I vote for him? And if they have not told you, then you bring that individual into your community and say, you tell me very specifically, if I vote for you, what am I going to get for my vote? Since politics is a process that designates or designs or dictates who's going to get what benefits, you say, what are you going to do for the black people? And now you need to know this, never in the history of this nation has any black person, has a black race gone specifically into a presidential candidate and say, here's what we want singly and solely for black folk.
Yeah. They tried that with Trump. They tried that with I believe Steve Harvey tried that with Trump. What's that man name? Ice Cube. Ice Cube tried that with Trump. Then Trump actually answered back with the platinum plan. I've read the platinum plan once. I got to go back and check it out again. But if nothing else, it was something. It was like it's more than what any Democrat offered Black Americans and specifically. But I mean, a lot of people like to argue that the things that Democrats instill does benefit blacks. But like that's also a double-edged sword because the taxes are going to be cut out. There's like the taxes is going to be extracted from Black Americans and then to help everybody else. But when reality has it, I mean, as far as what a lot of us believe is that blacks is kind of like in a dire need right now. Right now we are a third class citizen. We're third class citizens. I believe, in other words, that's like the third strongest population in America right now, and the voting and all that stuff, and the voting popularity and the voting analytics is going to reflect that. Yeah, I'm gonna show off. Yeah, I'll just show off the platinum plan. What entails that sometime down the line. Absolutely. What's going on here?
We don't care about what you do for all of everybody else in the country.
Oh, that's what I want to say. And this leads to his point on being analytical as a people, as a group of people, because when we actually start being analytical about things, and again start gathering the information, start gathering nuanced context, history, all of this stuff, and start include that into our solution making process, we'll leave out things that kind of hold us back, and that is our feelings and our emotions, because it's those feelings and emotions is what it's like the primary, it's like the central thing that our enemies will use against us. You know what I'm trying to say? Because like Republicans, by and large, are outwardly racist. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what we've kind of deduced as a group of people. And it's like a lot of Republicans don't want to hear that, but a lot of Republicans don't understand the importance of things like CRT, like critical race theory, where this is our outlet to just let everybody know how bad it is for how bad racism has affected Black Americans today. Like all the violence that's happened up to this point is primarily due to the fact that there's no wealth, there's very little established. Very little is an understatement. There's almost no wealth, established wealth amongst Black Americans right now. And with that being said, the crime rate, the violence against our women, like all of that stuff is directly connected to our poverty. Our established poverty in America. And everybody says, "Hey, go," and the common answer is, "Hey, go out and just work anyway, and just make the dominant society more successful, more established and stuff like that." I mean, of course, that's the only thing we can do. Folks have been already doing that, but there's a big population of us that want more than just that. And they've been robbed of that by way of these systems that's been put in place over generations that it literally contributes to where we are as a society today. Black folks are tired of being athletes, actors, and rappers, and we'd rather be businessmen now. But with the burning down of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Black Wall Street, and all these other things that's kind of happened, like. It's like it kind of leads. It all contributes as to why things are as bad as for Black Americans. You know what I mean? And I can't talk about this stuff till I'm blue in the face. I got to get through this video eventually. But that's all I'm trying to say. I got to wrap it back around. We have to get away from just only rely on our emotions to make decisions when it comes to voting, because people are gonna manipulate that, and I'm specifically talking about the Democrats, because they're not gonna say anything that's outwardly racist. They feel like it's the only way. They feel as though the only thing they need to do as a political structure, a political powerhouse, is just not say anything that's offensive. You know what I mean? And that's not good enough. We need actual tangibles. We need things done in our communities. And the showing for it is just hasn't been like there's just nothing. There's not enough to show for it. It's not enough to show for it for me to continue supporting either of these political parties. So that's why I vote. That's why I rather vote independent than just vote out a specific problematic individual. Oops.
Because everybody else in the country is not an exceptional group of people. We are the exception. We're the only people. Native Black Americans are the only people in this nation who are in a nation of immigrants. They are the only non-immigrants. They're the only people that were denied all the rights and privileges that everybody else got by coming into the country as an immigrant. Black people never got a chance to get the benefits of playing politics Because see, in the Constitution, it's embedded how black folk are to be treated. And it says very specifically that you are property, that you're not human beings. You're three-fifths of a human being.
Yeah, man.
You're not citizens.
As much as I don't want to believe that mess, man, it's just true, dude. It's just true. 3/5 of a human being.
Consequently, you're not entitled to anything. That's in the Constitution, in the first Constitution, from 1 through 12, the first 1 through 12 amendments. That's why you're different. Now those first 1 through 12 amendments allowed anybody else coming in as an immigrant to get anything they want, because when they came in, nobody told an immigrant that you're less than a human being, you're 3/5 of a human being, that you have no right to vote, that you're not citizens, that you cannot own property, that you cannot have an education, that it's against the law for anybody to be caught teaching you to read and write. You cannot have a family, you cannot get free land, and I can go on and on. That's on that those processes and those dictates are strictly against black people. That's what makes them exceptional people.
Yeah.
Now your exceptionality is your key to getting resources in this country and to be able to survive. Yep. Now, so in answering the question here, what this young lady asked a very valid question, saying, by our not voting, are we suppressing our own vote? No, what I'm asking you to do is to redirect your vote.
Yes.
You can go ahead and vote, but redirect it to the candidates who are going to provide some benefits to solve the dilemma or resolve the problems that are peculiar only to black folk as exceptional people.
Yeah.
Now, if no candidate would take that on, you tell them no resolutions to our problems, no votes. Then what you do is you meet with as many of your people as possible, call them together, and start thinking very seriously about having a black independent party across the nation.
Yeah. You
set up your own black independent party, and you designate what you think should be the issues in a national election.
Yes.
And you and push it and demand that other people respect it. Now everybody does this for black folk, except black folk.
Yes.
Now when I was running candidates for
real quick, yeah, and it's like I I understand people don't want to. I understand people like kind of get tired of me bringing up this whole Kanye thing. Ye as an individual, he had I would say he had the right idea. He had the right idea when he ran in 2016 against Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Hold on, was that 20? Yeah, that was right. Yeah, he had the right idea, but he didn't have the right plan, man. I believe I have reason to believe he ran just to pull votes from Joe Biden, but I don't know. He didn't do it the way Claud Anderson suggested. He was supposed to do it. He was supposed to meet up with other blacks, and they were supposed to come up with solutions that were going to benefit blacks. And then when he presented these solutions on national, because Ye has the image, he has the pull, all of that stuff. He has everything a man needs to get attention without even having to really spend money. Like he can literally pull out his phone and hop on Snapchat, on TikTok, anything you can think of, and record a 15-second video of him running for presidency, and then the world would go crazy. A lot of politicians just can't do that, you know. And information like that coming from a man like him will spread like wildfire. It will literally sell itself, you know. Becoming a president and all that stuff, like running and all that stuff, it's all the money is spent in advertising and putting your message out there, putting your ideas out there, so that as many people as possible can resonate with you as humanly possible, you know. And he didn't have to do any of that stuff. All he had to do is he could have made a song about it, you know. Anyway, he skipped steps and he screwed up. That's how he messed up. That's why he and it was a big Ye can bring. I mean, and it can be any rapper, any celebrity, but as to why nobody really stands up and tries any of this stuff is mostly because this Claud Anderson dude, like I don't know what the heck is going on. Like people just not they're not thinking as a unit. But like it's like I said, any rapper can do this. Anybody with a platform can literally do this. You know, they don't have to put forth half the money to gain the traction that other political parties do bring forth. But the idea that he's presenting is, what Ye was doing was pulling votes from Democratic Party and instilling it in himself. Like he wanted the black vote. His idea was to pull the black votes from Joe Biden and give it to Ye himself. So that and I believe he did that in favor of Donald Trump. So Donald Trump will win. So that's not what we want. That's not the reason he should have done that. The right reason to pull votes from Democrats is to put Democrats on task as far as the strategies and the tangibles necessary. The tangibles necessary for blacks to find some semblance of establishment in the society, like to fight against this battle of lost wealth and stuff in America. So that's more or less what he's trying to instill. That's the strategy he's trying to present to Black Americans with this video, with this Q&A. He wants us to just vote smarter, And this young lady that asks this very valid question, hopefully she understands that. But like at the very least, what I'm trying to do is like help expound on his ideas so that more people can kind of get a better understanding of the ideas that he's trying to present.
For presidents of the United States, for Jimmy Carter campaign, with Bill Clinton's campaign as a president, when I ran a campaign for attorney generals and governors and state legislators, every group that came to me, they had some very specific demands on what they wanted from a candidate to get their votes. Jews would come and say, here's what we want. Even the Hispanics, once they started pouring into the country after 1970, in 6 years after the 1964 Civil Rights Act was enacted, which gave them an open door to come into the United States. They copycatted black folks, set up a national Hispanic party. And in that Hispanic party, they would outline every year, here's what we want. And then we're going to stick together as Hispanics, which means anybody speaking Spanish. And then they said, well, the first thing we're going to do is try to displace black folk. Black folk were the majority, they were the majority minority for over 400 years. But in the year 2000, the Hispanics surpassed black folk in population numbers and made black folk a minority. Instead of black folk being a majority minority in the country, when the Hispanics surpassed black folk in the year 2000, black folk, instead of being second-class citizens, they became third-class citizens. And now the Hispanic vote even outnumbers black folk. And we anticipate that in about another 8 to 10 years, that the Arabs and the Asians are going to get together, and their votes will push blacks out of being third-class citizens and make them fourth-class citizens.
Yeah. And our numbers are being heavily attacked right now, and it's coming from multiple ways. If it's not the homicides, it's abortion. If it's not abortion, it's the food we choosing to eat that's killing ourselves. It's so many different ways that blacks are contributing to the decrease in our own numbers. It's quite staggering. I mean, even black love right now is being attacked, right? Like, and it's like if black folks don't want to get together, man, then that's gonna mess our numbers. That's gonna mess our numbers up even worse. So, if I want to expound on that a little bit, man, this whole idea, the concept of these of the manosphere and well, not necessarily the manosphere, but a subsect of the manosphere, which they call the passport bros. I mean, they literally suggest going out and going outside the country and finding and establishing a community, building up another community, um, instead of staying home and building up our own community. Because the home, like whether they want to admit it or not, their home is America. You know, and even though like there's just some things that the men are just kind of experiencing right now that they don't know how to navigate properly in America, running away from it and going to somewhere where it's easier to live, or the easier to find women that will submit to them or whatever. Like that chase, like that, just that bit of narcissism is literally it's contributing heavily into plummeting what we have in America, you know, and what we should be fighting for in America. So Pat, that's pretty much my biggest gripe against this whole passport bros movement, or yeah, that's just pretty much it.
Which means your vote is null and void. Your vote was already null and void even before the Hispanics passed you in the year 2000. You were always outnumbered by whites coming into the country, and they outnumbered you 9-1. And with Hispanics in 2000 increases, and now you outnumbered 10-1. Now,
I do remember reading somewhere that blacks held like 30% of the voting block in America. So that does mean something, and we need to like actually, in order for Democrats to actually care about our tangibles, we're gonna have to like remind them that we are a big portion of their success in America. And when we pull our votes away from them, and we form our own political groups that we will primarily dump our votes in, even though we know it's not gonna work. You know, even though we know that that the political party that we create won't win. You know what I mean? We don't. If we strategize this correctly, you know, we will at the very least bring acknowledgement. We will bring notice that these are the things that we want, and we will do something as crazy as vote for a political person that won't win, because by numbers it's impossible for them to win. We will vote for somebody like that, just to let everybody know just how serious we are as far as the tangibles that's necessary to keep black people as a group above water, you know. And that stuff is necessary. Instead of voting what our feelings, we vote strategically. And what that will do, I believe, at the very least, is gonna start to tell Republicans that, okay, if we want a chance to win, if we want a chance to get establish dominance if we want to, because right now Republicans are just they're getting their butts whipped. Like they haven't won a popular vote in America, and since Ronald Reagan. Like when was the last time they've won the popular vote, and they haven't relied on the electoral college to kind of bail them out and win them an election. They haven't won. They're getting their butts whipped. So if they're smart, they'll toss out this retarded, this horrible rhetoric of like pissing off black people and start adopting some of the things that we established in this new political party, right? They're gonna start pulling from that, and then start using our talking points and their political and their strategies on acquiring votes. So if they're smart, they'll throw away this idea getting rid of CRT and not taking this reparation conversation serious. You know what I mean? And saying stupid things to rebuttal against very nuanced and well thought out conversations and arguments in favor of reparations. They'll start throwing away these dumb things and this obvious racism, and they will actually instill this. They'll actually instill these platinum plans. They'll actually listen to us regarding our how the Jim Crow era has affected blacks today. They'll allow CRT, critical race theory, into AP studies of these of schools and stuff like that in Florida, all over across America. They'll stop saying and doing things that's anti-black, and they'll be more competitive against the Democrats, because they're going to get wiped out they're going to get wiped out if they act like they don't need the black vote. And then Democrats are in a position where they can just be lazy, and because they feel, I'm sorry, I'm not going to say that, I got to be direct in this. They're going to lose if we just strip away the entitlement that the Democrats have and actually bring them to task as far as earning our vote. Then we're going to get much better solutions, much better results when they are elected. Because if you're going to allow what's this guy? If you're going to allow Joe Biden to come up on a TV show with Charlemagne and say, if you're not black, you're not voting for me, or what did he say? If you don't vote for me, you're not black. That's entitlement. He's showing that the Democrats are mentally in a position where they are entitled for a black vote, and him being old and kind of dumb. He just doesn't realize that people in 2023 are smarter now, you know, and we've seen these tricks happen over and over and over again. And we're talking, and with the internet, with the power of the internet, we're having conversations now. We're bringing new ideas to each other, you know, and now I believe we're coming to a transition period where we are telling each other we have to hold these people to task. So for the simple fact that we know that being entitled is a bad thing, being narcissistic is a bad thing, we can start attaching these labels to the people that we vote for, you know. So then that will eventually and when these people know that the jig is up, you know, when we let them know that their entitlement lease is gone, that we're not voting for them just because they're Democrats, and we're not voting for them because we hate Republicans, that they can start actually taking us serious as a people, so that we can actually make strides towards a more sound and more grounded political system. And you know what? This is not even something black people can primarily benefit from. This is something everybody should be doing. And if everybody practice this type of voting style, like using what they say in a voting selection, you know what I'm trying to say. When we strip away the entitlement of them being just Democrats, or them just being left aligned and all this other stuff, and start holding them to task as far as what they're providing as a politician or as a representative of their ideas and goals for society in America, things would be a whole lot better. Things would be way less slimy in politics, and there'll be way less. I forgot that terminology, but it's like the act of big corporations having so much influence on political agendas and such.
Now, what does that mean? That means if you're outnumbered 10-1 today in the 2020 election, that means that the majority vote will override your vote 10 times with nothing left over. Hispanics, and the whites and Hispanics are classified as whites, they don't need your vote. They need your vote for two things: to engage you in some kind of superficial intellectual activities, to give it a pretense that somehow you're make a significant difference. They don't need your votes. Whites can vote in anybody they want at any time without the black vote. Period.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and don't forget that. Like it again, don't forget that. Like they know they can get things and they can get things passed, they can get the things pushed and stuff like that, but as long as we remind them that we have power as a voting bloc, as a group, you know what I mean? If we band together and vote as a unit, that's when our power, that's when our influence will actually make strides. Because they're gonna think, okay, wait, these people they're like hive minded right now. If we can just appease to these things, even if it's not reparations in general, specifically, it can be some policing laws and stuff like that they can compromise with. Something, as long as something happens that's going to benefit blacks, that's when things will start turning around for us as a people.
And people say, well, Dr. we still should vote. Why should we? Our vote counts, because our civil rights leaders told us that every vote is precious and it counts. Yes, for those who get benefits, but if you're not getting any benefits, it doesn't count for you.
Big facts.
If right now, let me use it in a simple analogy. If I had a pen with about 10 hungry bulldogs in that pen, starving to death, hadn't had any food, and they were waiting for lunch to come, and I were to throw a rabbit in there, and the rabbit said, now, I want all of y'all, 10 of you all in now. You got 9 hungry bulldogs and 1 rabbit. Y'all get together and come together and vote on what we're going to have for lunch and what you all going to have for lunch.
Hey, that rabbit finna get jacked up, bro. Hey, that rabbit is future grass fertilizer, cuz.
Bulldog doesn't care about what the rabbit thinks is the appropriate thing. He will be the lunch.
Yes. It's over for that rabbit, cuz. Man, he's like, hey, let's go about this grass, what we got going, like a carrot. Let's get a carrot farm going. And them dogs look at him like, yo, we got canine teeth, cuz. These canine teeth need to be these canine teeth need to be supplemented. We got these joints need to be exercised, my friend.
That's what happens in this country. Every time there's an election, everybody's going to put all their issues on the table. Black issues will never go on the table. And what happens is nobody cares about you. You'll be in the same status position that you've been in for over 460 years. That is out under the bottom. We have a ranking order of social acceptability in America, going in a skin-colored derogation. It goes at the top: white, yellow, brown, black.
Yep.
You're on the bottom.
Yep.
And if you were to look at it, and go look at the Department of Commerce 2014 census, it's exactly what I just said. You're under the bottom. That in this country, you have the least amount of income, median family income. You don't own and control anything greater than 1/2 of 1%. We are null and void. Your vote.
I'm hearing the wealth raised to 4% now. So that does maybe that changes things. 4% is a lot better than 0.5%. I'll tell you that much.
Has no power unless you're going to get benefits. It has no power unless you have an economy to hold people that you put in office accountable by putting political pressure on them economically, but where you can either reward or punish them for not delivering some value and some benefits to resolve your problems. Now, so in answer to this young lady's question, am I asking you to suppress your vote? No, I'm not suppressing your vote. The Constitution and the system has already suppressed your vote. They suppress your vote by making you the only planned minority in the country. Nobody else.
The only planned minority in the country. Like, think about that. Think about being the only planned minority in the country. and think of the implications. Think of the think of what's necessary, what needs to be involved into making somebody into crafting a minority out of a group of people. There's special rewards for stuff like that, man.
A planned minority. You've been a planned minority as a black person since 1789. Every law has tried to keep you in a nullified position. Ironically, during slavery, the blacks outnumber whites in the southern states. You're over 51% of the population in South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. You were the majority population.
We were the majority population in all those states. So imagine being the only planned minority in America, in a nation. Think about what comes with that. Think what's necessary to instill that in a society, you know. And think of just imagine how evil people have to be to craft a system to place black folk in a position so unwinnable, and watch us still survive anyway, and still turn around and say, pick yourself up by the bootstraps. Y'all can do better than that. It's evil, man.
But guess what? They elected the individuals there to represent those states. They weren't even blacks. They didn't represent you in Washington, D.C. They represented the white people. And they came with a concept called the Diversity Act in 1705 that says that in all circumstances in the South, make sure that nobody represents black people, period. They are non-citizens, they are property, and they are not to be represented. And that's what gave those red states now the power, that what's called electoral college, that Donald Trump is depending on. Those are the same redneck states that kept you enslaved. Only at that time, they were the Democratic Party. They switched and became the Republican Party in the 1950s. Learn how to play the game. No, I'm not asking you to suppress your vote. The system is suppressing your vote until you get enough backbone and start demanding resources for you.
I wonder what was the cause of that switch in 1950 that compelled Democrats to turn Republican. I remember a person I debated with that simply just said, he obviously he was Republican. He said, and we was debating about the Klan, and he just said like, I guess he just stated that the benefits that come with being a Republican just made it compelling. Was pretty much the cause for the switch. So man, maybe that was the answer. He was I didn't like the guy, but fact of the matter is maybe that's like the most rational answer I can think of. So it is what it is, right?
For yourself. And if the main parties, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, would not respect you or recognize your dilemma and say we're going to correct what happened to black folk. Starting first with correcting the purpose of slavery, which was to maldistribute almost 100% of all this nation's wealth, power, resource, minerals, oil, businesses, gas, everything into the hands of the dominant white society. Right now, 98% of everything of value in the society is in the hands of whites.
Yes, sir.
And black folk are locked in at 0.5%. That is exactly where you were in 1860 at the end of the Civil War. So when you start voting, make sure you vote for benefits. Don't let any civil rights leaders tell you to go there and vote just to exercise a right. You don't go to vote to get exercise. You go to get benefits. Remember that. You vote to get benefits.
Yeah. You out there in that hot sun, with your little bottle of water. That's quite the exercise, man. But no, there's a better reason to go out and vote. Double entendre.
Nobody promised you nothing. That's exactly what you're going to get is nothing.
Nothing.
I thank you and tell the young lady again to send it in that no, I'm not asking you to suppress your vote. I'm saying to redirect your vote to those who are willing to carry your water and do something to help your people resolve a protracted problem that is the legacy of slavery, 360 years of slavery, another 100 years of Jim Crow segregation, and another 50 years of benign neglect. They're not going to correct your problem. Come up with your own party and vote and take care of yourselves.
All right. Dope. Yeah, that was 1 hour and 30 minutes covering a 30-minute video. Oh, it's not even over with. Well, that's fine, brother. He's still getting he was still getting his thing together. Oh, here we go. We can, yeah. Doing so good with these ads, man. Yeah. If you appreciate Dr. Claud Anderson's work, please like this video, subscribe, and tell others. Please tell others. Please tell others about that stuff. Tell your mama, tell your daddy. All right. So let's see what we got. What else we got going on here? So we're gonna do one more. I don't know how long it's gonna be. 30 minutes.
He never thinks.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Hello, welcome again back to Powernomics.com YouTube
brother?
channel. Your host, Dr. Claud Anderson, and Connecting the Dots. We're gonna pick up where we left off in our last presentation of commentaries. We're gonna talk today about a Q&A. And this Q&A is a little different from the one we talked about in part one. This came in from an individual. And I'm gonna take the liberty of reading this to you, what he says. And I don't know whether this individual is black or whites, but he's trying to get at something that the major whites are.
I want to say this real quick too. I hear a lot of conversation regarding people's race and matters when in these types of conversations. I want to say general rule, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the race of people that ask these questions. If what you're saying is rooted in rationality and nuanced context and all that other good stuff, that like your answer shouldn't really change. I would say the delivery can be adjusted depending on the sensitivities of the person you're talking to, but as a general rule, no. Like your answers largely should remain the same, no matter who you're expressing it to.
Society has been promoting for all through 360 years of slavery and Jim Crow semi-slavery. They keep trying to tell black folk, y'all are not victims. Yes, you were enslaved for 360 years, and you were semi-enslaved for another 100 years, and you've been benign neglected for another 50 years, but you're not victims.
Yeah. Oh man. So this is like the big one. I've been seeing this is like when you start preaching about Dr. Claud Anderson. This is going to be one of the biggest arguments that you're gonna face. Yeah, this is gonna be one of the biggest arguments that you're gonna deal with. From detractors of like reparations and conversation regarding Dr. Claud Anderson. How would I want to word this? But so everything he's gonna say here is pretty much what you're gonna have to say verbatim to kind of pretty much destroy any attempt of a conversation or a debate with these folks. And I have reason to believe these are the conversations that's going to lead them to just eventually say, hey, you should check out you should check out Thomas Sowell and all this other stuff. Again, I'll check him out. I'll see what he has to say. I will do that. I have promised people I will check out Thomas Sowell, but I already kind of see where it's kind of going. But so yeah, let's see what Dr. Claud Anderson says. Because I had my own way of dealing with these types of folks. Let's see how it aligns with what he has to say.
You got everything you need, even though you only have 1/2 or 1% of anything of value in the nation. You're not a victim. I mean that.
And it's like what they want you to do is forego your identity as a black person. They want you to identify as a individual. And that is a huge success. They've done a great job in misaligning black folk and getting them to believe that even getting them to believe that their perception from other people is directly, how do I word this? This is gonna be kind of difficult for me to put in words. As a black person, there's gonna be things you're gonna deal with that other people won't have the experience, and the only way you're gonna address those issues is by aligning with other black folks or other people that struggle with you, and addressing this to the higher powers, to the government, in other words. But if you are stuck in a perpetual identity crisis where you can't associate yourself with other blacks, then you won't come to the conclusion that you need to have these conversations with blacks in order to both these solutions, in order to achieve these solutions. So like I say, you can get offended about all these black folk that's getting shot and killed by each other, right, and the police and all these other people. But if you're not collaborating with your brethren, and in order to instill solutions that are rooted in rational thought, that are rooted in context and nuance, well, we're gonna just continue this cycle of until we're just out of the picture entirely. Actually,
That must be the will of God, or you all just stupid and dumb and can't get anything. He never thinks that, in fact, if he had read my books, Black Labor, White Wealth, The Black History Reader, and Powernomics, he would have known that nothing has happened to black folk by accident. Black folks' condition was imposed on them, has been maintained by people who are greedy, insensitive, and don't really care and have no interest in where black folk are.
Yeah.
Black folk are the victims. They have
Yes.
been victimized. They have been depreciated. They have been denied all the basic things that a human being should have had, not only in terms of humanity, but also for wealth, power, resources, privileges, and rights, and a chance to own and control things that affect their lives. And here's what this individual says. And again, I don't know whether he's black or white, but listen to this now.
Yeah, they're usually white, but they're also black, but they're also agents. They're also agents. They're also people that are employed by people that don't want to see traction being built. So watch out for those cats also. But largely, if your argument is sound, if your argument is squeaky clean and soundproof, then you should be cool. And if you're not how do I word this? If you can't come up with something to say that will work, then just literally just send this video to him. It'll work just fine. I hopefully promise.
What he says here is that Dr. Anderson, in the world, the world should be given a hand to the wicked. That's your black man. You have constitutional rights and civil rights. You have discrimination laws, trillions of dollars in welfare, affirmative action.
Welfare, dude. Everybody benefits from welfare, man. And with black people only being 14% of the United States population, the people that benefit the most from welfare are poor whites. So because they make up 60% of the world population, and yes, they do make up the majority of the most poorest people in America.
Action, civil rights lawyers, passing nothing but anti-white laws for 50 years. Took
anti-white laws,
control of our inner cities, and got people thinking thinking they are victims. Held office in America and dominated these major cities up to the present time. They have all the powers that they need. They were given all these powers in the 1965 Civil Rights Law. And this is what they keep telling themselves. in an echo chamber, whites to whites, or you got some black conservatives who are outside the system also trying to contain black folk.
Can I say something real quick about echo chambers? Oh man, I want to make a video on it, but they suck and they're stupid. If you lock yourself in a box with people that agree with you, you will never grow as a person. If I stayed in the whole manosphere box, right? If I only listened to guys like Kevin Samuels, whom I respect, if I only listened to Fresh and Fit, if I only listened to O'Shea and all these other guys, MTR, then I'd have been stuck in that box, you know. But what I chose to do was step outside of that box and listen to other people speak, and I found balance. I learned the importance of cherry picking, and I understood that cherry picking will be essential to navigating not just relationship dynamics, but also the world as a whole, primarily politics, economics, whatever is important.
And tell black folk, you're not victims. You all have been getting all these benefits for all these years. That is illogical and it's stupid. Because
Yes.
right now, black folk are carrying a debt of despair and disadvantages. They're carrying 7 to 8 times their fair share of everything that's bad in society. They own and control only 1/2 of 1% of value, anything of value. 38% of all the black people in America right now are beneath the poverty line. You got about another third that's right on the edge of going down the toilet, sitting up there waiting on the poverty line. In 2007, black folks' median family income was $9,000. Then it dropped down by 2009 down to $2,000. You own and control nothing. And in this society, what you own and control determines your opportunities and your rights to be a participant, to have fair opportunities to gain and compete in the society. It's what you own and control. You've never gotten anything free in the society. Now let's look at some of these things now about affirmative action he mentioned. I have the dubious honor of writing the first affirmative action plan in the United States that was not contained in the United States Constitution. I wrote it in 1970 for the state of Florida that was approved by the governor and the cabinet system. Approved and went all over the United States. Everybody thought would be give a hand to black folk. But unfortunately, that program was captured and corrupted in 6 months. Instead of being focused on black folk, as I had intended, they shifted it over to minorities, poor folk, people of color, gender, and women's issues.
They pour water in it, man. I mean, like that idea was black, right? But when you start pouring other people's interests and self-interest into something that's sound, something that's good and justified, it dilutes it, man. And it's like it sounds. I know it sounds bad. Like, yo, why are we only helping out like one specific group of people? Like, but you can start. I mean, at the very least, you can start it out by just saying people that moved here. I'm sorry, settlers, not settlers, but foreigners that moved here and legally, they were given government benefits. Black folks were never given any sorts of benefits from the government to get them started as a people.
And diluted it down. And to really cap it off, they did turn around and put white women into the affirmative action program and gave them the thing called Title IX, which says they're not only equal to black folk, they're over black folk. And 2 congressmen, one a white congressman from Virginia and a white senator from Louisiana, stuck that into the 1964 civil rights law as a joke. And they were absolutely amazed that the black elected officials in this country never pushed back against it or said that ain't going that way. You cannot stick white women into an affirmative action program and pretend that they are a minority.
As a joke. As a joke. You know what that joke does? You want to know what that joke does? This is what that joke does. Affirmative action that was set in place to bring black folks up to the level. I'm not even. It ain't. Oh my gosh. Who am I kidding? to inch them towards the to service level of the water, right? I mean, the dominant society is on a freaking yacht, right? Black folks were given affirmative action to be above water. It's literally a freaking what are those things called? A lifesaver. That's what affirmative action was supposed to be for blacks. But they gave that shit to white women anyway. And what is that gonna do? It's literally by them doing that, it's literally inadvertently, or not inadvertently, indirectly benefiting white men. Adding white women to affirmative action literally indirectly benefits white men. And they did that as a joke because blacks didn't give a. Bro, it was just that, like, if I'm trying to, like, let's try to be empathetic on the moment. It was that bad for blacks that we it didn't care. They just didn't care. They couldn't have cared because had we had cared, we wouldn't have got anything. Apparently, is that what it was? But bro, a freaking joke.
White women are not a minority. Women in general are not a minority. Women own and control.
Bro, there's more white women than there's white men. How the hell are they a minority? That doesn't make any damn sense. It was a little joke. And that's how bad it was back then that we had to just sit there and freaking take it. Like as if we were freaking slaves. Bro, whatever job a white woman receives from by way of affirmative action literally benefits white men. So what the hell is the purpose of affirmative action anymore? It's something that it's like the one thing that white men don't have access to, but they still benefit from it.
They got about 38 to 39%, 48 to 47% of all the jobs in America. They got about 51% of the population. They got about 65% of all the college degrees. They got about 87% of the wealth. They got two of the biggest mortgage companies and banks in the United States. They inherited, they co-own, and they controlled and co-influence everything that the white man got during slavery. They are not a minority.
Not
what
at
they've
all.
done is take a majority, which was the women, and stuck them into the affirmative action program and corrupted and bankrupted. And they did
corrupted and bankrupted. And it was a joke. It's like this is literally what happened, bro. Like they gave us lifeguards. They threw us the lifesavers. The black folks that got a lifesaver were saved. They cool, right? But then all of a sudden they start throwing the white women lifesavers also. Like everybody gets a lifesaver, and all of a sudden black folks all of a sudden there's not enough lifesavers for black folks that needed it. That this system was set in place for in the beginning. And here's the results. Here's the results. Outrageous crime rates in America. Little to no established wealth. A projected 0% wealth share in America for this group of people by the year 2053. Black numbers, like population dwindling and going down by way of social norms and conversations that's essentially benefiting individualism. Political parties that don't give a damn about us because our numbers aren't strong enough. This is like, so these people that come along and say, y'all got everything. This is the best place for a black person to be, America. Y'all should be jumping for joy to be Americans. How about you apply some context? How about you apply some nuance? How about you actually start caring? When you start caring and you start applying, actually start performing your due diligence, you start putting in some research, you might be able to start sympathizing. That's a little bit. At the very least, empathize and stop being a fucking racist.
And in reality, the white man right now is a minority. And if he wanted to, that's why now he's coming up with a concept calling white man a socially disadvantaged group, that they should be getting special rights and privileges, even though they only control 98% of everything already. And they're going to put them into affirmative action. And so that ain't going to go that way. I wrote that plan for black folk back in 1970. It has been corrupted for everybody except black folk. And was written to help balance out what black folk should have gotten in response to the Dred Scott decision of 1857, which says a black man has no rights that a white man is bound to respect. A black man is not a citizen. He cannot own land. Everybody else coming to the country can get what they want. Mm-hmm. Immigrants came to this country, and what people don't tell you, immigrants came to this country for a very specific reason. It was identified on the Statue of Liberty, where it's giving you're tired, you're poor, and poor. Listen, you're tired and you're poor, begging to be free. They were poor. They came here looking for something. They came here to be enriched.
Yeah.
And how would they be enriched?
Not even just being enriched, but like the states of their nations are just so poor that they have to find refuge by way of America. Greatest nation in the world, apparently, right? So good for them, and I'm glad that their lives are better by way of immigration. So
immigrants came to this country. That's why they call it a land of immigrants. They came here to be a part of the controlling ownership class, to own and control resources. And they put that into what a concept called the American dream. Come to America, instead of breathing to be free, get free land and free black labor. Yeah. And that's what the immigrant program was set up for. Anybody coming here as an immigrant could get free land and free black labor. Point one. Point two, in that immigrant.
Yeah. Free land and free black, free. Oh, damn. Was it that bad? Was it that easy? That's wild. I do know that when you come, immigrants come to America, they're given like special loans. They're given special interest rates and stuff like that to start businesses and get a leg up in society, which will in turn have them hire Black Americans and the societies that they partake in, or in the communities that they nest in and stuff like that, which is a thing. Some of them are actually, majority of them are actually kind to their locals and stuff like that. Like even to go so far as to kind of coach the young ones and to learn how to gain some wealth and establish something for themselves. Like teach them the game and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure you can go to any gas station and just have a conversation, be friends with them, and they'll teach you the game. They'll teach you what's necessary to start a business the way that they did. If they're really kind, they'll even give you some connects. So so the people that did like come into black neighborhoods and stuff like that and establish something. I'd argue to say that majority of them are kind to the locals, but at the same time, that you kind of have to be nice too. You kind of have to be nice because you kind of have to take into account like if you're not a cool person, they're not gonna mess with you. That the locals not gonna support your business. But but still, like black folk did benefit from these from that type of circumstance. So that's still something that we can be grateful of.
Workers come in, they'd be in the second class category called management. If they cannot own businesses and control land and resources, they'll be a part of the white management class. That's why all immigrants coming to America are classified as blacks and above blacks. Now, the lower level, the third level down, that's what blacks are. That was the working class. Those could not get anything. Anybody else could get 650 acres of land as soon as they set foot in the country. Mm-hmm. And even that's why Benjamin That's why.
Man, as he's talking past tense, by the way. I don't want anybody watching this and thinking like, no, this nobody gets free land now. No, this is like a specific time period he's referring to that's foundational towards the where all these displaced communities kind of essentially ended up today.
George Washington got 100,000 acres of free land. Thomas Jefferson picked up 100,000 acres of free land.
100,000.
That's been passed on to all of his generational descendants.
Yes.
That's why Patrick Henry got 65,000 acres of free land. That's why white immigrants coming to America picked up over 1 billion acres of free land. Didn't pay a penny for it. That's how they got all these big farms out west and ranches. They didn't pay for that land. They got it free in land rushes. As a matter of fact, the last land rush of 1862 gave every immigrant 160 acres of free land. But when black folks in the 1860s asked for 40 acres of mule, they said, y'all not entitled to anything.
There you go. You see, we couldn't get 40 acres, and they how much? What did he say? Billions of they've seized billions of acres of land, and we couldn't get. Yeah,
they've never received anything.
Stuff writes itself, man.
So I found it's illogical and insulting for anybody to say that black folk have gotten everything they wanted and they're not victims. And I wrote the affirmative action plans. I know.
Like the people that say these type of things, they literally just don't believe in generational. Well, they act like they don't believe in generational wealth. You know, they don't believe this like it exists, and it's literally just it's gaslighting, man.
What they had and what they didn't get. Secondly, it says here that you all got control of all the major cities, so you're dominating them. Again, that's a farce.
Whoa, dominated major cities? Like, high population rate does not mean we own anything, bro.
It's a game and a sham and an insult for black folk.
Yes.
You see, because when the civil rights movement started in the 1950s, white folk then did not want to integrate with black folk. And what they said is that if we're going to rather integrate with black folk in these major cities, we're going to create a new concept that we're going to call suburbs and exoburbs, which means we'll move out of these major cities if black folk want to integrate. And what they did, they took the 1956 Highway Act and used it to build expressways through every major city in the north and in the south. They built major expressways through it. And guess what? They ran those expressways right through the heart of every black community in the United States. And
oh my goodness, yo. Yo, I got this. I know this nice old lady, man. This nice old lady, bro. She's a white lady too, man. She was a nice white lady, bro. And like she was really up there in age. And she always used to tell me, like, she always told me the exact same story of, they ran these highways through these black communities, and it was just a bad, sad thing. And that's all she said. She didn't know she didn't understand the nuances. She didn't understand the context. She just knew what the results were, what happened, you know. And I just couldn't really put it together. I'm like, that's messed up. But I couldn't really tell just how bad that turned out to be for us as a people. And here I am now, being explained to me. So it's like this is just like a full circle moment for me. But yeah, hey, God bless that old lady, man. She's one dope. She was one super dope person.
And so that the whites could have a fast way of getting out of these cities and moving to the exurbs or the suburbs and build new communities. Point one.
Oh, that's why they did that? Whoa, really? Wow. So they can have direct access to city jobs while being separate from blacks that move closer to the city. That's why suburbs exist?
Point two, they didn't practice what they call a burnt field category, which means that not only will we move away from you black folk, but we're going to practice a scorched earth policy, which means everything.
Shit. Because if they don't live with us, then their tax dollars won't benefit our communities also. Cause if we damn, that's crazy. This racism stuff runs deep. It runs deep. Dang, bro. I never thought of it like that before. Bad what was the name of that white code that act that they instilled? But yeah, by them essentially and acknowledging a quote unquote invasion of black people in their communities, it wasn't just the fact that they had to see black folk in their neighborhoods. They realized that had they stayed there in these communities with these black folks, their work, their contribution to society would actually directly benefit their communities, right? And that these blacks will benefit from the hard labor of their white neighbors, right? And the thing is, the way things are kind of laid out right now with the whites being like the dominant society. Wow, it's like how do I man, this is kind of a new, I'm unlocking a new part of my brain, I feel like. But these people were so rooted in economics that they didn't just move out because they were tired of looking at black faces. It wasn't just about the feeling of like, oh, black people, I can't stand the sight of them. It wasn't just that. They literally recognized that their money were going to be circulated in the same communities with these black folks, and that these black folks will actually benefit from the establishment. They'll actually benefit from the how do I word this? Yeah, they would actually benefit from just living in the same communities as these people. Like I said, when we say a community grows when the money bounces within the community multiple times, right? With black folks being in the mix, they benefit from that, you know. So that's why they move out to these suburbs or these whatever this other terminology that they use, outer burbs or something like that, outro burbs. They separate themselves from these black folks, so they can practice this group economics separate from these people. And then their communities get built up and it becomes super nice and clean, and there's always people that's picking up the trash and all this other stuff. And what comes after that was them recognizing there are quote unquote savable blacks in these crime infested areas, you know, and they make these communities look nice and clean and inviting and stuff like that, so that blacks make the individual, to invite blacks to make the individual decision to separate themselves from their communities where they started and invest their minds and their strengths and their skills into these white cultivated communities, so that the whites can benefit from the ideas and the strengths and the talents of the exemplary blacks extracted from the ghettos and the hood and all that other stuff, while the only people left in the hood are just poor, talentless black Americans, you know. So this racism stuff goes deep, very interesting.
Thing that was in those
very interesting
cities in the 1950s and 1960s. We're going to move it out, use those highways and move it out to the suburbs. We're going to move out all the businesses, the industries, the factories, the banks, and the wealth power and the voting power in those cities will be transferred outside the city. So the economic base for those major cities will sit outside of those major cities. Let black folk, they said, inherit those major cities, but they cannot run them. They cannot be effective in government because there won't be any money in them. We're going to abandon them and take everything of value out and put it in the suburbs. And then we're going to tell the black folk, if you all want to have anything, since we own and control everything, you got to get in your car and drive out to our suburbs and buy from us and give us your money. That way we can continue to get 98 cents out of every dollar that you get.
Yeah.
Comes in your hands, you bring it back to us and put it back in our hands in the suburbs. That was called urban renewal. And they started urban renewal and what some people later called black removal. And the same process now, here we are 50 years later, they're getting ready to run the same game on black folk. And now instead of calling it urban renewal and black removal, they're going to call it gentrification. Where they're going to come into these cities where black folk inherited way back 50 years ago with no resources, no wealth, no power. Wealth and power was in the hands of the whites in the suburbs. They dictated what went on in those major cities. They told the black city councils and black mayors what they could and could not do because they didn't have any money. And then the state legislators in all those major states then would not allow those urban cities to do very much in terms of gaining wealth and money. They shut them down and passed all kind of laws that restricted blacks because white folks said we're going to eventually go back and recapture that land under gentrification. And then when we recapture it under gentrification, we're going to move to the second step. It's called
real quick before he goes into the second step. But yeah, the gentrification is going to come by way of them extracting, establishing that power outside of these black poor cities and towns and sections of cities and stuff like that. And let me try this again. This gentrification is going to come by way of them separating from these towns, these townships and stuff, and practicing sound and proven group economics in their own sections and their own communities, so that the highest bidders, the highest, the biggest playmakers and the biggest game players within these communities will come back to these crime-ridden city towns and stuff like that, and they will establish businesses to extract even more resources from these people within these communities, and that's pretty much the purpose of it. That's how they're gonna reclaim these towns. Like whatever sections, cities, whatever black folk kind of control at all, like that's pretty much what gentrification is. It's gonna be infiltrated by way of buying land, buying cheap land, because it's been like the building, like the lot's been empty for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right? So there's no value on it, These guys are gonna come up here, build their really nice Walgreens, Walmarts, and all this other stuff, and other McDonald's and stuff like that. And that money is just gonna get the money that's generated from the communities within that is gonna be generated from the working class within those communities, and it's gonna be extracted. It's gonna be funneled into these acts of gentrification, these dominant, these white-owned businesses and stuff. This is what it is, So it's man, I just never thought of it that way. Like that's why I'm kind of starting with it. I'm kind of trying to really put it in a perspective and really try to sound it out and all that stuff. I'm kind of slow in saying it, but this is just me. I'm just rationalizing right now. It's deep, man. It's just freaking deep.
To be capitalized on them and convert all those any resources in those cities by privatizing them into the hands of the white society. As it is in Detroit, Michigan. I wrote down that time there'll be 25 things in Detroit, Michigan, that when the whites come back out of the Michigan suburbs, they're going to take back from a city like Detroit, Michigan, and blacks will be bankrupt. And that's what happened to them.
Yeah.
I tried to build a black community to stop it, but the silly blacks in government there, except for a few on the city, kept a few blacks for the city council, understood, and they tried to be supportive. But the majority of blacks in the city of Detroit did not understand. They wanted whites to come back and bring back all the wealth they had taken out of the city and renew the city in the hands of whites. And what they also renew was not only the wealth back into the city, but they're going to take over the bridge to Canada and put that in the hands of whites. They're going to take the underground bridge, underwater bridge tunnel to Detroit, between Detroit and Canada. They can generate money and revenue. They're going to put that in the hands of whites. They're going to privatize the golf course, all the waterfront land, Cobalt Hall, Joe Louis Arena. They're going to privatize the city airport into the hands of whites. That's going to go on all over the country in 2019, all the way up to about the next 10 years, about 2030. Started also with Washington, D.C. When I first came to Washington, D.C., it was called Chocolate City. And now and blacks made up 78% of the population. Now in 2019, blacks are down to about 38% now. 38%. They're going down. Now the city's being monopolized and being taken over by immigrants, and the dominant white society is coming back to take over everything and run the city. Instead of being Chocolate City, it's going to be a pink city. So I don't know where this person gets this, playing this game about you all had the cities and you got civil rights laws. The civil rights laws of 1965 were corrupted too. They were supposed to have been for black folk. The whole purpose of the 1965 civil rights laws should have been to correct what slavery had done to black folk, to recapture some of those resources that had been maldistributed. Slavery maldistributed 100% of the country's land, minerals, businesses, corporations, income, privileges, rights, and controls of all levels of government to the hands of dominant white society. The 1965 and 1964 civil rights laws should have been targeted trying to redistribute those resources. And black folks should have said, we're not concerned about integration. Integration is a weakening process. We don't want you to destroy our communities through by black removal and by gentrification. Just make sure we got the resources we know we need to be a competitive people. Don't destroy our schools. But they didn't do that. They went for social integration, which totally tore up all those cities. And all those cities again look like bombed out Beirut. Nothing but vacant lots, abandoned buildings, no factories, no buildings, no jobs, poverty, and everything.
Bro, like they don't understand, man. They what they didn't get. Why am I mic? Oh, here we go. Yeah, what they didn't get was what they didn't understand was, had they owned the land themselves, had they owned it themselves, it would have established a level of love into these towns, into the buildings, into the economy and all this other stuff. Like the love is what's necessary to keep like the dream alive, to keep the community going, to keep the community striving. The love is what drives the essentially the will to compromise. You know, with no love, there'll be no compromise. With no love, there's just gonna be splitting. Like it's just gonna be gone. Like no, like all love. Like I'm not. What I gotta compromise here for? There's better opportunities in in this area of town. There's better opportunities in this state. There's better opportunities in this country. There's better opportunities anywhere else but where I come from. So the loyalty does matter. The loyalty does build communities. It does have its place. So with no love and the only thing if you try to build a community with no love and just capitalistic gain, the only thing that's gonna happen is extraction of resources and into the things that person rather dump his affection towards. So like this whole gentrification process, or this whole idea of bringing in capitalists from other communities to come essentially build up your community. No, these dudes have self-interest. They have things that they want to get done. They have their own goals and displacing their wealth into black communities. And when the wealth and when things become a net negative, I'm sorry, when their outcomes become a net negative, they pull out. Whereas if this place was done the right way, they'd hold out a little bit longer. They'd hold out longer, and the community will be built up stronger and better by way of everybody collectively compromising for the sake of the town and communities that they love so dearly. So that's why it didn't work out for Detroit, or that's why it didn't work out for Michigan or wherever he's talking about. Because like bringing in capitalism to fix a problem, to fix the community and all that stuff. That's not it. You got to bring in people business savvy people that are affectionate for these places. The money doesn't solve everything, man. Oops. Where's my mouse at? There it is.
And no employment opportunities. Black folks should have been taught and encouraged to have their own business and employ their own people, provide their own resources, income, and tax base. But they said, no, we'll come back and get those cities, and we're going to boycott you all, and not won't spend one penny in your businesses, and let you come to our business in the suburb and give us your money. And therefore, whites now get 98 cents out of every dollar that passes through a black person's hand in these big major urban cities. That wealth goes back into the white folks' pockets. And that money in value is doubling and tripling every 20 years. And consequently, pretty soon blacks will be totally null and void. And this individual's talking about, well, you all had civil rights. Civil rights have been taken over by fabricated minorities in this country.
Yeah.
They've created all kind of fabricated minorities to ignore black folk and give those rights and privileges that black folk had never, ever received from 15, 16 up to now, present day 2019. They never got it. And so this individual, again, I don't know whether he's black or white, but again, he's pushing his old BS that black folk got special privileges, special rights, and they were not victims. Anybody got any sense past about a third grade education that understand history would know better. That's why this individual should go buy my library pack. Those 5 books that would educate them. So in the future, he would not make those kind of stupid remarks that would insult to black folk.
Yes, sir.
But anyhow, that was the second part of that one. Now, the other thing I need to be addressing for you is this whole question that one woman wrote. One woman up here, and I can't figure out why. She's just determined to know why I'm so intent on trying to help black folk. And I look at her things here. What she's saying is, Dr. Anderson, your skin color complexion is not black. You're a Caucasian.
Oh, goodness. No way am I upset that he's answering this question. Not a chance. I'm just mad that people don't have the intelligence to understand a bad argument before they even make it. Like, dude, it's like proofreading for grammatical errors isn't enough. Like, sometimes you need to just reread what you wrote and just to acknowledge just how dumb you sound. You feel me? Like, no, that's not. You don't. What? You're not black. Why would you say all of this stuff? Because you're not black. Why would you? Like, are you stupid?
Was your grandfather Caucasian? Do you realize, sir, that we're in a patriarchal society? Where'd you get your lineage from? Your father's side? In essence, you're a Caucasian. You're not. You can't be black. So let me inform you and educate you. There's no such people could be called black people. My grandmama told me long ago in the 50s and 60s that they were Indians. Blacks isn't a color. It's not a race or a people. And see, I can go on and on. But sir, again, that's so.
Hey, preach. Go ahead. Get in her booty.
Either stupidity or just outright rank ignorance.
Yeah.
Why she's so determined to try to prevent me from being black, I have no idea. But and why can't I be black? My mother and father were black. All my relatives are black. Children are black. Why is it nobody wants me to be black? Because I defend black folk. And so I was laughing about that. And here's a book right here called Who is Black? That was written back in the 1990s, and by this fellow. And in the book, he says very specifically that who is the black? Dr. Claud, and they said, you want to know who's black? The reference is contact Dr. Claud Anderson, and it's stipulated on one of the pages, 75, I think page 75 in that book, that he determines what was black. He gives you the explanation of who is black. And this woman said there is no black people. See, that shows how far she is. The most powerful thing on earth and in the heavens is blackness. If you were to leave this earth and take a trip any place in outer space, you'll find the most powerful thing is blackness. Any place you go, blackness is extreme force of black.
That's interesting. That's interesting. He says, I would have never thought of it like that. You talking about a black hole, and you talking about like space in general. Like, yeah, all right. I see you. I see what he said, but I would have never. All right, I'll leave it at that.
We got the black holes in outer space that are so powerful. They're 20 million times stronger than the sun. They got the ability to be able to draw anything into the black hole and destroy it. Can destroy matter. The blackness is power in the outer spheres of this earth. Now, on this earth, the most powerful things on the earth is blackness. Whether the plants, the food you eat, or if you go to the color spectrum, and you can have all kind of colors in the color categories. You can have pink, yellow, green, brown, whatever you want. The most powerful color is black. Black will dominate any color on the earth in the color spectrum. Black will run over any of those other colors.
That's so
if I were to put blackness in terms of on paint, the black color will harden faster and will last longer than any other color.
Hey, this is the blackest brother I've ever seen in my life. After that explanation, hey, I'm rocking with it though.
Blackness is power, and whites have always identified that and felt that. That's why back in when they passed the national origin law back in 1924, they said be very careful. They told whites be very careful in 1924 about blackness. They said blackness is so powerful that you only take one drop of black blood can make you black. But yeah, and you can have a jar of black blood that can't make you anything else. It can't make you white. Black will dominate any blood you can come into. That's why they passed those laws about blackness is power in the origin. And on this woman, what she fails to understand is that I love black folk, and I've always been black all my life, and I'm going to stay black. But blackness is more than what she's saying. She says like skin color.
Yeah.
Yes, it can be a skin color. There should be a skin color, just like whiteness is a skin color. When whites came to this country, they called themselves white Puritans. White Puritans back in the early 1600s. They put white in front of the Puritans. Then after about 50 or 60 years, they changed from being Puritans to becoming Europeans. Then they said white Europeans would dominate and control the country. But they always kept that whiteness in front of it. Then later on, when they got to the 1800s, when they had a big emphasis on the Europeans coming into the country from different aspects of the European society, rather than Northern Europeans started coming in, and Western Europeans started coming in, and Southern Europeans started coming in. They said, well, when we get there, we don't want to be affiliated with those slaves because slavery is now ended. And we can't give it. The country's been built. That the whites were the management class and the ownership class, and the blacks were the labor class, but we can't give them any credit for building this nation. We can't give blacks, the black laboring class, all those millions of blacks that built the roads, cleaned the land, got rid of the snakes, the trees, and built the canals, built the buildings, built everything. They were the ones that worked in the factories, the shipyards without any pay. We can't give them credit as a laboring class to have built the nation. We got to make sure all the credit goes to the ownership class, the white ownership class, and the white management class.
Yep.
So they said at that point, any Europeans come in here, we come over there, we're going to stick behind our name, we're going to stick our country of origin. If I'm coming in from Italy, I'm gonna call Italian Americans, or I'm gonna call Polish Americans, or French Americans, or German Americans, because they wanted to, at that point in time, since slavery was ending and Lincoln was coming into office, they wanted to disaffiliate any credit going to black folk for what they've done in this country to build this country. At that point in time, they started using this word African, because they said, now if we call it, let's make them look like savages again, and that way we can export them out of the country. And now we don't need them anymore, because now we got Europeans coming in here. They're going to be the new working class, and we don't need no black working class. Let's get rid of all these blacks by calling them Africans and savages. And what we do, let's ship them to the Bahamas or to Haiti, or let's ship them to Texas, set up a special piece of land in Texas for just shipping them there. Or even better, let's ship them back to Liberia in Africa and make them look like savages. That way we don't have to ever give them credit for anything.
Yep.
And so that when they started that in the late 1860s, then all the whites coming to America identified again with their country of origin coming from Europe. And that stayed true up until about the 1940s. In the 1940s, when black folks started pushing for integration, and they said they're going to start pushing for integration for themselves, that scared white folk. And white folks said we can't be divided, because what these black folk are pushing for is social integration, which is what they call universality, and we can't afford to be divided by being a French or an Italian or a German or a Polish or a Jewish. We got to come together as a group. Let's get rid of those words in front of our name. We don't want to be Jewish Americans or French Americans or Polish Americans. And so what they did, let's just simply be white Americans. So at that point, white people dropped everything from the back of it. What they kept was only the whiteness. They said they're going to come together as a team. No more Italian communities, French communities, Jewish communities. It's just white communities, period.
Yeah.
And see, some of our people never understood that.
Interesting.
And what they want to do, they say, well, we want to be African Americans. You can't be an African American. The worst thing you can do is to claim to be an African American, because you see, Africans didn't contribute to the building of this land. They did not send one boat over here in 500 years to rescue any blacks. Those blacks that came here as slaves, they neutered on the boats. When they got into the American continent, they were stripped. They went through a seasoning process. They were stripped of all Africanness. They were stripped of their culture, their history, their language. They were given new names. They were taught to think and think through the eyes of the white master. They became new people altogether. They became Native Americans. And now, if you start calling them African Americans, what you've done there is to strip them of the credit that they deserve for having built this nation. But more importantly, you strip the indebtedness that this country has to replicate and repair those black folk that built this nation. That's why I call them Native Black Americans. They're different from any blacks coming from the Caribbean or from Africa or from Europe. They're different. They're not necessarily better than, but they are different.
Yes.
They so be treated in a special category and recognize what they did in building this country. If you call them African Americans, you strip them of their uniqueness and learning how to behave, their culture they developed in this country, how they learn how to stick together and try to fight and survive. And these people coming from Africa, they are from Caribbean. They were always more privileged in coming to this country than Native blacks. That's why up until about 1950s, a black person wanted to get over and go into a white restaurant or white hotel, and he couldn't go there as a Native Black American. He could get special rights and privileges if he were simply go put on some boots and put a dashiki on or a cape on or put a hood on or wrap a diaper around his head, anything. He could go into a white restaurant, a white hotel, and pretend that he was speaking an African language, saying, "Osha Buta, I'm from Africa, blah, blah." And he could get in and get away with things that Native blacks could do. So everybody,
very interesting,
any immigrant coming to America, whether they were coming from Africa or from the Caribbean or any place in the world, whether they were French, German, or Hispanic, Asians, or Arabs, they could always come in and be lifted above Native blacks. So Native blacks cannot give up that special status, that special exceptionism that they have in this country by saying, we are Native Black Americans. We are entitled to a special kind of respect, appreciation, recognition, and reparations. And to that end, I want you to stay fixed, and we'll pick up where I left off at this point on our next commentary.
All right. All right. All right. So yeah. Close. It's been 2 hours. We streamed for over 2 hours. Holding on to your identity. And in my introductory video that I aired a couple weeks ago, that's exactly what I was talking about. This identity politics, your identity matters. What you identify in America, especially in America, matters. Because everything that your group has contributed to this society, you should be you should directly be contributing from. I'm not contributing from. You should those rewards that's been set in place that off the backs of off the foundational Black Americans, like the fruits of their labor are essentially yours, right? But it just seems as though the only people that benefit from that are the people that instructed them. You know what I mean? The slave owners, the government, everybody else benefited from the labor of these people except us, right? And it's so bad that we can't even we can't even receive the benefits from our own parents. I mean, our own lineage of people. Like, we're stripped from even that, you know. So it's like, and other people have been. Other people in this country have been have sustained wealth within their families, and they pass that down to their kin, to their next of kin. So this has been extremely enlightening, man. Love this stuff. I can't get enough of it, to be honest. But if nothing else, folks, just please don't let go of your people. You know, don't let go of who you are and where you come from, because it's not just a thing of like loyalty or compassion or honoring that stuff. There's actual tangibles that come along with you owning who you are, you know. So anyway, yeah, I'm drawing to a close, man. It's been extremely. This is definitely my best stream yet. The content is still gonna be rolling out. We've been doing extremely freaking good lately, man. Like almost every video I come out with has been 200 plus views, man. Specifically the shorts. So the success is pretty much. I don't think I could be happier right now. So I'm gonna just continue doing what I'm doing. I still got some stuff on the pipeline that's gonna be coming out automatically. So even if I don't feel like even if I quit like tomorrow, the content is still gonna come out and it's still gonna mess around and go viral. You know, it's still gonna do pretty well. But this stream is I definitely gotta put this out there. This has been an extremely good stream. And I gotta give it up to Dr. Claud Anderson for not striking me down. For letting me use his stuff momentarily. Definitely big ups to Dr. Claud Anderson. But you know, jokes aside and stuff, man, like, yo, get this guy's book, man. Listen to him, go to his YouTube channel, like his stuff, share his stuff, comment, like, get the engagement going, and like bring his stuff up, man. Like, really, I can't stress that enough, man, because this dude, like, he needs to know that his work has not gone in vain. You know, he has that that he did contribute to enlightening people. You know, that's pretty much all I got going on, man. It's like super duper late over here, and so I want to wish everybody a great night. Oh, look at that. I want to wish everybody a great night. I'm definitely learned some things. I'm grateful for the chat for teaching me, because that's what this is really about. So yeah, where is my oh, there it is. And shit. So I'm gonna catch you on the flip side, man. It's been real. Thank you, teacher, for learning things, for listening, and listening to the point where you learn things you didn't know. Because I know I didn't know. I know I ain't know too much anything before watching this.
Searching for music for your next video? Then you need to check out our list. With amazing new music added daily, and one simple license that covers everything. Artlist is the music licensing platform for all creators. Start now and find the perfect song. Artlist, made for creators.
It's the life blues.